You know that feeling, right? You tell yourself, I'll just win a little and walk away. But next thing you know, chasing a $60 loss turns into blowing $700. You're smart, rational, in control until you open that gambling app or step into a casino. It's like a switch flips in your head, and boom, you're a robot, logic completely out the window. In that moment, you're not the cool-headed problem solver you usually are. You're driven by this urge like a puppet on strings, controlled by some invisible program. If you've ever felt this kind of spiral, don't worry, you're not alone. This isn't about weak willpower or not being smart enough. I've worked with tons of sharp, disciplined people, doctors, lawyers, business owners, even mathematicians, and gambling addiction hits them just as hard. It bypasses your rational brain, taps straight into your emotional core, and takes over every move. The gambling industry is a finely tuned trap, designed to pull you in and keep you stuck. Today, I'm exposing the 5 biggest lies the gambling world sells you. Lies that drag you deeper than you ever imagined. See through them and you can start breaking free to take back your life. Gambling makes you feel like a boss. Think back to when things started slipping out of control. Maybe you just lost a job, your career was stalled, or family drama was weighing you down like a ton of bricks. Maybe life felt like a total mess, with no clear path forward. Then you place a bet. The screen lights up, the roulette wheel spins, the cards flip, and for a split second you feel in charge, like you're finally calling the shots. Your heart's pounding, adrenaline's pumping, and you feel like you're on top of the world, like you've got superpowers. That I'm in control vibe is so addictive, like you're finally taming life's chaos and filling some inner void. But it's fake, a total illusion. The longer you gamble, the less power you have. You can't outsmart the machine's algorithms, the rigged odds, or even your own impulses. It's like being stuck in a program you didn't code, chasing a reward that's never coming. Gambling promises control but rips it right out of your hands. Ever wonder why, when you lose, it always feels like you were this close to winning? That's no coincidence, it's by design. The gambling industry knows exactly how to play the near-miss game. Your number's 1 digit off, the roulette ball lands in the next slot, or you're 1 card away from a killer hand. Those almosts aren't random. They're carefully crafted. Casinos and apps are programmed to make it feel like victory's just out of reach, dangling enough hope to keep you betting. Every near miss gives you a little dopamine hit, whispering, next time's the one. I knew a guy, Chong, a hardcore gambler, who once missed a slot machine jackpot by 1 symbol. The screen flashed this taunting, almost animation, with sound effects cranked up to max. He was sure the next spin would hit, so he kept going, and lost his entire month's pay in 3 days. The lights, sounds, even the machine's vibrations are all engineered to trick your brain into thinking the win's right there. Online platforms are even sneakier. They tweak the near-miss frequency based on your betting habits, keeping you hooked like a fish on a line. What's worse is that this control feeling blinds you to reality. You might spend hours studying odds, analyzing trends, even coming up with a foolproof strategy. You tell yourself, this time's different. I've got a plan. I've got discipline. But when you're at the table, adrenaline pumping, those plans go out the window like they're made of paper. You say, just 1 more. But 1 turns into 100. You start chasing that never-ending reward, and the more you lose, the deeper you're sucked in. It's not because you're weak. It's because the whole system's built to keep you from stopping. Casinos and apps use every psychological trick in the book to hijack your reward system, making your brain think the next bet's the big one. They know your brain's wired to crave rewards, and gambling exploits that to the max. Every time you feel so close to winning, the system's manipulating your expectations, tossing you just enough bait to keep you biting. You think you're running the show, but you're a puppet on invisible strings. I've seen too many people trapped by this lie. One client, Cook, a 30-something IT engineer with a razor-sharp mind, told me he started gambling to unwind, thinking it was no big deal compared to cracking complex code at work. He spent months studying baccarat probabilities, building Excel spreadsheets, convinced he'd cracked the winning formula. But every time he hit the casino, those spreadsheets were useless. He lost money, time, and eventually his confidence. He said, I knew the odds were against me, but every bet felt like I could win. That's the trap. Gambling makes you think you're the exception, the one who'll beat the system. You tell yourself your research, your gut, your luck will make you the winner. But that's the lie's core. It makes you feel special, like you can control a game that's uncontrollable. The truth? The math is always on the casino side. You might win here and there, but in the long run, you're always the loser. Now let's talk about the second lie. Gambling makes you think you can be a winner. Ever tell yourself, one big win and I'm out? You dream of cashing out, strutting away like the big shots in the ads, pockets full of cash, head held high. You picture buying a car, paying off loans, or treating your friends to a blowout dinner like some movie hero. But anyone who's won knows it's never enough. Win $500 and you're flying high, win $5,000 and you feel like you've cracked the system. In that moment, you're untouchable, like you've unlocked the secret to the universe. Your brain's swimming in dopamine, and you feel invincible. But once the high fades, you're back at it. Not out of desperation, but optimism. You think, money comes easy. Maybe you can double it. Maybe today's your lucky day. You start dreaming of bigger wins, bigger payouts, even planning how to spend money you haven't won yet. And then, you blow every penny you won plus more. Because gambling's finish line keeps moving, you're not betting for money, but for a bottomless thrill. I knew an old gambler, Hardin, who told me about the time he won $200,000 in Vegas. He felt like a god. He'd planned to use the money for his daughter's college, but the rush of winning was too much. He thought he was on a roll and kept betting. 3 days later, not only was the $200,000 gone, but he owed the casino $50,000. He said, "When I was winning, I thought I could win more. When I was losing, I thought I could break even. I couldn't stop." That's the trap. Gambling makes you think wins are endless, but casinos don't care if you win. They know most winners won't walk away. They hook you with free credits, extra bonuses, VIP perks, all bait to keep you betting your winnings. They make you feel like winning's your reward, and losing's just a temporary setback. You start believing if you keep going, the win will come back. But that's the lie's heart. You're not betting for money, but for a feeling, a void that never gets filled. The industry also plays on your optimism bias. Your brain's wired to overestimate your chances and downplay the risks. You remember every win like it's a movie scene, blowing it out of proportion, while brushing off the countless losses. Every win puffs up your confidence, making you think you're closer to being a big winner. I had a client, Ming, a sales manager with a silver tongue. He said every win made him feel gifted, like he was smarter than the other gamblers. He'd brag to friends about his track record, thinking he was a legend. But every loss? Just bad luck, he'd say, convinced he'd turn it around next time. He ended up losing his house down payment and nearly his marriage. Gambling made him feel like a winner, but it cost him the things that mattered most. Casinos and apps have your win-loss ratio figured out. They let you win just enough to get hooked, but never enough to come out ahead long-term. You think you're battling luck, but you're up against a system that's always got the upper hand. The more you think you can win, the easier you fall into their trap. The third lie is that gambling makes life more fun. Industry ads hit you with flashing lights, champagne, heart-pounding moments, selling you the idea that gambling adds excitement. Every bet, with its glowing screens and victory sounds, feels like you're living a Hollywood blockbuster, full of drama and anticipation. They convince you gambling fills the gaps, making dull days vibrant. Open an app, and the colorful interface and triumphant jingles pull you into a more thrilling world. The glitzy casino decor, the slick ad campaigns, they're all designed to make you think gambling makes your life bigger, brighter, better. But the truth? Long-term gambling makes everything else boring. The more you chase that dopamine spike, the flatter everyday life feels. Hanging with friends, watching a game, or just taking a walk, they all start feeling like they're missing something. It's not that life's actually dull. Your brain's been trained to only chase gambling's extreme highs. Ever notice how, after gambling for a while, normal life starts to annoy you? Things that used to make you happy, chatting with friends, catching a ball game, even a quiet walk, feel pointless. You start thinking only gambling gives you that alive feeling, that rush when you place a bet. I had a client, Xiaoya, a 28-year-old single professional. She used to love traveling, snapping photos, and hitting the town with friends every weekend. But after getting hooked on online slots, she found travel boring and friends' hangouts lame. She'd sit glued to her phone, waiting for the next spin to hit big. She burned through her savings and lost her social circle. She said, "When I wasn't gambling, life felt off, like something was missing." That's no accident. Gambling's massive dopamine hits rewire your brain's reward system. Everyday joys take time and effort to feel, but gambling's thrill is instant, intense, like a drug hitting your nerves. Your brain gets hooked on that artificial high, and everything else starts feeling colorless. You might even feel like life's a black and white movie without gambling. What's scarier is that this shift pushes away the people and things that matter. You might ditch friends' invites because they don't compare to the thrill of a bet. You might ignore family because their concern feels like pressure, forcing you to face your issues. You start thinking the gambling table is where the real you lives. But that's the lie. Gambling convinces you it's your spark, when really it's stealing your foundation. The more you chase that fake thrill, the further you get from real joy. After each high, the emptiness hits harder, and you need a bigger hit to fill it. You're stuck in a vicious cycle. Gambling doesn't brighten your life. It drains the color out of it. I've seen too many lives wrecked by this lie. One client, Jason, a 50-something retired worker, told me that after retiring, life felt empty. His son was busy, his wife was caught up with chores, and he felt alone. He started hitting a local casino, thinking it was fun, and the card players were his new friends. But soon, he got irritable when he wasn't gambling. Even playing with his grandkids wasn't fun anymore. He lost his retirement savings and nearly his marriage after a huge fight with his wife. He said, "I thought gambling gave me something to look forward to, but it made me not even want to go home." Gambling sells you the idea it lights up your life, but it blinds you to the joys you already had. You start thinking only the table gives you that alive feeling, and everything else feels like a burden. The fourth lie is that gambling gives you a sense of belonging. Ads show buddies high-fiving, apps flash leaderboards and community jackpots, creating this vibe that everyone's in on it. And if you're not gambling, you're missing out. You open an app, see real-time winner lists, and feel like you're part of a family. You might trade tips in forums or share secrets with strangers, feeling like you're in some exclusive club. Casino staff and app VIP reps make you feel special with free points and personal touches. But the deeper you go, the more alone you end up. You hide your $100 bets when others are risking $10. You cover up losses, debts, and the shame of every bad call. Every lie, every secret pulls you further from real connection. I had a client, Lee, a 35-year-old truck driver who used to be the life of the party. After getting hooked on sports betting, he started dodging friends' invites, scared they'd ask how he was doing. He lost half a year's pay and took out shady loans, hiding it all from his family. He said, "I felt like a thief, stealing my own life." Gambling's community is fake. Your real friends, your family, the ones who care, get pushed further away. You start thinking the gambling world is your safe space, where you don't have to face real-world pressure or judgment. But that belonging is poison. Every loss makes you hide more, too ashamed to face people. You might even blame loved ones for not getting your passion. The truth? Gambling cuts you off from real belonging, leaving you more alone than ever. The fifth lie is that gambling makes you feel special. At first, nailing a bet gives you a little swagger, like you outsmarted the odds. Each wager starts feeling like a way to prove yourself, not just for the cash, but to feel sharp, unique, like you've cracked a code nobody else gets. You might dive into complex betting strategies, crunch historical data, and think you're smarter than the average gambler. You spend nights watching tutorials, scouring forums, convinced you've found the key. But gambling hijacks your self-esteem. The more you chase wins, the more your worth gets tied to a system you can't control. Win, and you're a king. Lose, and you're nothing. Your mood, your value, it's all chained to the outcome of a bet. I had a client, Jie, a 40-year-old construction manager. He used to feel average, nothing special. But betting on horse races made him feel different. Every winning pick had him thinking he was a genius, bragging to coworkers about his gift. But every loss crushed him, making him feel like a total failure. He lost his savings and his team's respect. He said, "I thought gambling made me stand out, but it made me feel worthless." Gambling convinces you you're proving yourself, when really it's tearing you down. You might spend hours chasing surefire strategies, thinking you're one step from cracking it. You buy gambling secrets, join insider groups, convinced you've got the edge. But those strategies are a mirage. The math ensures you'll lose in the long run. Casinos and apps are light years ahead, using big data to predict your moves and tweak your experience to keep you losing. The more you try to prove you're special, the more you're played. You ignore your real strengths, pouring all your energy into a game that never pays off. In the end, gambling doesn't just take your money. It steals your confidence and dignity. Gambling promises control, belonging, freedom, but delivers loss, shame, and loneliness. The longer you're stuck, the harder it is to find the real you. But this isn't the end. You're not broken or powerless. The system's built to exploit you, but you've got choices. Seeing through these lies is the first step to breaking the cycle. You can stop, rethink, rebuild. Reach out to a friend, family, or a pro. Own the struggle. Find new ways to fill that void. Pick up a hobby, reconnect with loved ones, set a new goal. Quitting's not instant, but every step takes back your power. The system's tough, but you're tougher. I've seen people climb out of the gambling pit. One client, Wu, a 30-something office worker, used to bet every night, losing 5 years' savings and racking up $200,000 in debt. He thought he was done. But one day, he opened up to his wife, who didn't judge but helped him get counseling. He joined a support group, deleted the apps, and slowly got his life back on track. Now he runs, reads, and saves for family trips. He says, "I thought quitting would kill the fun, but it gave me back myself." Real joy isn't the rush of a bet. It's the quiet moments with people who matter. What's the first step to breaking free? Admit there's a problem. Sounds simple, but for many, it's the hardest part. You might feel ashamed, like admitting it means you've failed. It doesn't, it's strength. Start small. Delete the app, set money limits, or tell someone you trust. Reach out to a counselor or support group, or just open up to a friend. Every time you skip a bet, you're fighting for your freedom. Every time you face reality instead of running, you're rebuilding your life.